Welcome, brothers and sisters. I am the Saved Schizophrenic, so thank you for clicking on this video or watching even a couple minutes. I wanted to share something with you that I've been really just pondering and reflecting on the past couple days, and it has to do with the fact that each and every one of us, internally, we are in a civil war, we're in a fight, we're in a battle between chaos and peace. And often we see that fight between chaos and peace spill over into the external, whether that has to do with mental health and depression or anxiety or bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, if it has to do with addiction, whether it has to do with being an alcoholic, being an addict with other substance abuse issues, cocaine, meth, or any other drugs, if it has to do with addiction when it comes to pornography or self-harm and cutting yourself, if it has to do, oftentimes that battle between chaos and peace can lead to thoughts to unalive yourself, to take your own life. Sometimes the battle between chaos and peace can lead someone to become physically abusive in their relationships. It can cause someone to be very narcissistic and have a personality that just is very toxic. And I've been struggling with this topic, I've been struggling to write about it because it's something that takes a lot of honesty and vulnerability. And it took me probably about 2-3 days to write what I wrote. And that is because I strive to be as honest as possible with you guys about my own struggles, about my own battles with addiction and cravings, whether that has to do with alcohol or my cocaine use in the past, shooting up, my trouble with self-harm. And on a daily basis, I used to take a blade to my forearms and cut myself. I used to do it on a daily basis because I was trying to replace mental, spiritual pain with physical pain, because the physical pain wasn't as bad as the pain I felt in my heart, in my soul, in my body, in my mind. So I tried to replace one pain with another type of pain, and it just doesn't work, because at the end of the day, when you're doing that, the substitution is just a mechanism because you're running away from your problems. You don't want to take accountability and responsibility for your actions. And it's one way that people blame God for what's happening, instead of being like, you know what? I did get myself in this situation partly, so let's figure out how to get myself out of this situation into a better position. But I've struggled with self-harm in the past. I've struggled with sexual immorality, and I was sleeping around with men and women. At one part of my life, in some parts of my life, I sold my body. I was a prostitute, a sex worker. And I didn't do it for the money. I did it because I was an addict. I was addicted to drugs. And so I sold my body, and the deal was, you can do anything you want to me, do anything you want to my body. In exchange, in return, I want you to buy me drugs so I can shoot up, get high, and just pass out. That was the deal I would make with people. And then I have my own struggle, this fight and battle mentally with my schizophrenia. And so I try my best to write about this civil war that's going on inside of myself, in my mind, and in my heart too, just in terms of battling temptation, battling desires of the flesh, battling just that wickedness and unrighteousness that we are prone to giving into. Human beings, we can be very selfish, we can be very toxic, we can be very hurtful, and oftentimes when we are hurtful, when we are toxic, we're doing it on purpose. We're doing it to inflict pain, whether that pain is physical or mental. We know what we're doing. We know what we're doing is wrong. We know what we're doing is hurting someone, but we do it anyways. And I don't believe in the mental health excuse. Even if someone is mentally unstable, a large portion of those people who are mentally unstable, they still know the difference between right and wrong. They still know the difference between good and evil. Whether people like to admit it or not, nurse practitioners, mental health professionals, doctors, psychiatrists, therapists, whatever, mentally unstable people are not stupid. Mentally unstable people are not dumb. Mentally unstable people definitely know the things you should and shouldn't do in society, even if they are not mentally well. I just think that's an excuse that people have to where, oh, he's mentally not right, so it's not his fault. No, it's his fault. It's her fault. They did what they did. It's their fault. Now we need to figure out what to do, where to put them, what home we should place them in, what type of correctional facility, what kind of establishment, what kind of hospital. Where's the safest place for that person to be, not only for themselves, but for other people. But it took me a while, like I said, to write this, and I want to share it with you. And so it is called Civil War, Chaos and Peace. And so we are going to read it, and I'll kind of let you know my thoughts periodically. I'll stop and let you guys know what's on my mind when I'm reading it. So here we go. The house wakes before I do. Floors remember footsteps I never took. The walls hum with a radio playing. Songs I don't know the words to. Or the songs I used to sing alone at 2 a.m. when everything felt smaller than my palms. Skylar opens her mouth like a window, and cold drafts out opinions, old jokes, knives, made of syllables. Cheyenne laughs like a hinge that won't unstick. Kentucky dust in her tongue, and she names every scar like a prize. You remember that one? You earned it. They argue in the kitchen of my head. They put caps on the table and accuse me of never making the tea. Outside, the street is a photograph that keeps changing. Figures in other frames move wrong. A man with a mask from a movie I saw once counts the mailboxes with his thumb. A pale girl tilts her head in the yard, smiles that are too patient for children. They are actors in films I've never auditioned for, and sometimes they walk through my living room as if my furniture is set dressing. I try to map out hope. It's a word with too many doors. I press my palms to the cupboard, feeling for light switches. Maybe peace is in a drawer between the forks. My thoughts scatter like coins tipped from a pocket. My hands become a net with holes too big for anything but the smallest truths to fall through. And that's what and it's a struggle for me, hope. And like I was describing, I feel like I'm in a house trapped with figures and people and voices and these characters, and they bring up things I've done before and past mistakes, and they have bad jokes and riddles, and they just are always around. And so trying to locate and identify and find hope while trapped in this house with people you don't like, that get on your nerves, that are annoying, it is a very difficult predicament to be in. To find that peace and that joy and that sense of hope when you feel like the walls are closing in around you. You feel like you can't, or it's impossible to escape. The doors are locked, the windows are shut and bolted, and you have these horror-themed horror movie characters out on the lawn who are just watching you. So that's what it's like for me when it comes to a civil war, that I'm fighting against all of these things, all of these characters, all of these figures, and even if I defeat one, another one pops up. Even if I defeat Skylar, there's Cheyenne. If I defeat Cheyenne, there's another one after her. And so no matter how many hideous, ugly, murderous clowns I defeat, or psychos with an axe, there is another demon, there's another character that just is keeping me trapped in that house. So here we go. Skylar lives near the window. She keeps weather there, predicts thunder in the shape of arguments, tells me which corners will betray me. Cheyenne sits on the back of the couch, boots folded beneath her, chewing a truth into smaller parts, throwing them at me like copper pennies. You'll be fine, unless you're not, buddy. She knows the names of the men in my childhood and how to make them sneer again. They are not just sounds. They have addresses. They come with timelines and receipts. Memories printed on cheap paper, crinkled at the edges. They tell me where I left my keys, then tell me how they saw me switch my life for a lighter. They claim to love me and then trade that love for a sharp sentence that stings like winter wind. My thinking is a bus with doors that open and close. Without warning, I step on, thinking I know the stop, but the driver rewrites the route mid-ride. Streets bend into sentences that end in question marks. Names become verbs. Faces become metaphors. I write grocery lists that bloom into eulogies. I try to string a sentence together and find I've knitted someone else's sweater by mistake. And that's what happens a lot for me and my diagnosis, my illness, that past mistakes are often brought up by what I hear and see. And there's been so many times they bring up old names and old people and the Janes and the Johns I slept with. They bring up the people that I traded, the people that I gave this temple, this place, this body, that I gave them permission to hurt me, to desecrate this temple in exchange for what? Drugs? And so those past mistakes are brought up all the time by my hallucinations, by the things I hear and see. And it's nonstop, 24/7. Just of, you slept with this person, you let them do this to you, you're a hoe, you're a prostitute, you're a whore, you are nothing, you are less than nothing, you don't deserve life, you don't deserve to live. And like I described just recently, just a couple minutes ago, it's like I'm on a bus and I think I know where I'm going, and I think I know where I'm going, But the bus driver just decides mid-ride, oh, we're not going there. We're going somewhere else. And it's like, how much anxiety that causes in my brain of, I thought I knew where I was going, but now my sickness, my illness decides, no, you're not doing what you thought you're doing. You're not going where you thought you're going. You're not talking with who you thought you were talking to. No, instead we're gonna take control, and you're gonna forget what you did for 12 hours, 24 hours, 36 hours, 48 hours. You're not gonna remember where you've been, what you've done, who you were with for 3-4 days. And that's happened to me where I blacked out and I don't remember anything that I've done, where I've been, who I was with, what I was doing for days. And I would say it's scary when that happens, but over 15 years, I've grown accustomed to having a terrible memory, and of times to where psychosis and manic episodes and bipolar episodes and psychotic episodes, and just, I've grown accustomed to being crazy. I've grown accustomed to being psycho. And so nothing surprises me anymore. So let's go on. At night, the horror movies practice on my lawn. Characters I half remember drift across the grass. The one with the heavy breathing stands under the streetlight, his shadow bigger than his body, waiting like a question. A girl with a pale dress hums a lullaby that breaks the windows. They do not speak to me, they speak through me. Reading lines that do not speak to me, they speak through me. Reading lines I didn't know were in my script. Sometimes they kill people I love on the television of my mind. Not with blood, but with the slow erasure of color. A friend becomes a silhouette in a doorway, and the door closes with all the politeness of a slammed fist. Violence here is repetition, replay, rewind, repeat. I watch powerless as the scene edits itself, as if I have handed the scissors to someone else. Paranoia is a surgeon with clean gloves. It measures my body for threats and stitches suggestions into the lining of my days. Every creak is a footstep, every ring is an accusation. Every smile is a proof. I move through rooms as if the floor might tilt, as if the furniture might decide to turn on me. I anchor myself to small things, the kettle's whistle, the rhythm of the radiator, the particular weight of a mug, tiny moorings in a sea of suggested storms. And really that part just depicts how crazy the war in my head can get, of these horror movie characters taking control, breaking windows, and really being the ones who steer the boat, steer the ship, steer the car, who have the wheel of the car. And I am in a fight for my life of, I don't know what's happening, and no matter what I do, everything churns on me. The furniture tilts, I can't sit straight. The room tilts, and I'm unbalanced, and I fall to where no matter what I'm doing, nothing is as it seems. People are not who they say they are. What I'm hearing is not true. What I'm seeing is just false appearances. And so that part just really describes the horror movies that I'm in, that I'm like, it feels like I'm in a horror movie and I can't escape. So hope, when it appears, is tiny and ornery. It sits like a hummingbird on the edge of a lamp, resistant to capture, insistent on its own directions. It is a neighbor's dog that wags like a contract, a note left in a pocket that says, I saw you, I stayed. It's the clean page I keep folding into my pocket, the one I hope to open on a day that doesn't fold me first. I catalog the small mercies like coins, one for the sun finding the blinds, one for a bus that waits, one for a stranger who says, "You okay?" without running. These are flimsy defenses. They are also scaffolding I build with them when the storm feels encyclopedic, when the voices hold a council and appoint a day for my fear to present an exhibit. Disorganized thinking is the cat that knocks over jars. It leaps at syllables, sets them rolling under tables. I try to gather them, glue them back into meaning, but my fingers are sticky with old maps and don't fit the edges where the pieces used to be. Still, I try to name the dog, the sun, the bus, to tell Skylar and Cheyenne that I love them, but not like a broken mirror loves sunbeams, carefully at a distance with an index finger's mercy. And hope is something that even today, as we're talking, hope is something that I struggle to find on a daily basis. And I know that it's out there, it's present, that it's around, that God is present in my life, that Jesus Christ saved me, and that Jesus Christ pulled me from the dirt, pulled me from the mud, and gave me the opportunity to receive salvation, grace, and mercy. Like, I know all those things are true, but still hope is hard for me to grasp. It's hard for me to hold in my hands because of all the decisions I've made, of all the bad things I've done. A part of me feels like I don't deserve hope, that I don't deserve happiness, that I don't deserve to live a peaceful life. Just because of all the people I've hurt, friends, family, lovers, partners, of all the people that I just stole from, lied to, abused mentally and physically, all the times I hurt myself, that I feel like hope is for other people, that hope and peace and love is for people that haven't done what I've done. That's what I feel like sometimes. And so this civil war that I'm in my mind, between chaos and peace, a lot of it has to do with the fact that I don't deserve peace. I've done too many shitty things. I've done too many bad things. And so how on God's green earth does someone like me deserve a good life? It doesn't make sense to me. And so that's something I struggle with every day. And I know that people deserve second chances. That's something I believe in. I believe in everyone deserves a second chance. Everyone deserves an opportunity for salvation, to find God, to build a relationship with Jesus Christ, to feel the presence of the Holy Spirit. I believe everyone should strive for those things. But at the same time, for me personally, as a degenerate, as a wicked, evil person, there's a part of me that's like, but that's something that's for good people. You're not a good person. So it's this battle that I'm constantly in. So let's continue. Skylar, you're moving too slow. The world is impatient. Cheyenne, move slow enough to listen. They all rush off the cliff. Me, I am tired of being the cliff and the jumper. Skylar, you could have been sharper. You could have told them no. Cheyenne, or you could have held on. You could have hit harder. Me, I've been trying to learn what no feels like. Skylar, you always fold it like a paper boat. Cheyenne, and the river always wants the sick. Cheyenne, and the river always wants the sick ones first. They recite my past like a script. They're testing on stage. Between their lines, I insert a grain of hope. I will survive this scene. I will not say the final word. They keep handing me. I will not say the final word. They keep handing me. I will choose a different verb. My sentences wobble like a phone with one bar, but sometimes they connect. Sometimes the call goes through. When it does, the world becomes a small room where my breath is private and my hands return. And this section for me, a lot of it has to do with I sometimes feel like I'm performing in a script, in a play, and I don't have control over how I perform the lines, over what I'm doing, over my own body. It's kind of like I feel like a puppet and someone's pulling my strings. And the part where Cheyenne, it says Cheyenne, and the river always wants the sick ones first. I feel like that's what's happening to me, is that I'm sick and the river is trying everything it can to take me, to pull me in, to drown me, to suffocate me. And part of that has to do with pulling my strings to where I don't feel like I'm in control. So I light a candle until the flame inhales my fear. It trembles, a tiny animal, and teaches me how to be steady for 2 heartbeats at a time. I make a list of safe places. Kitchen, bedroom, the bench by the river where the bark is always generous and does not demand answers. I hang the list like a pennant in my head. When the voices parade, I point to it like a lighthouse. I practice saying the word stop until it fits my mouth. I practice saying I'm scared like a fact, not a confession. I practice naming the color of the sky. These are dull-angled tools, but they cut away the fog just enough to let me find my shoes on the floor. I put them on and walk into the day like a small ritual, a prayer to the mundane, an inventory of the ordinary. Sometimes I walk with my hands in my pockets, counting steps like an accountant, counting breaths. Sometimes I call a friend and say there's a storm, and they answer, I will sit in the doorway. That is a kingdom. One person in the doorway and the rest of the world kept outside. That is peace. That is peace. Brief as a photograph, that is peace. Brief as a photograph, bright as an apology. And it's truly, that's what peace has been like in my life, to where it's been so brief. To where peace has maybe shown up for 30 seconds, for a minute, like taking a photograph, and then it's fleeting, it disappears, it goes away, and it doesn't stay. And, photographs are nice, they allow us to have memories, and photographs are nice because it makes it so we can see things that used to be, that see things that happened, but photographs are not the same as memories, to where memories allow us to feel things again, and to where we feel there's someone's touch, someone's words, how their words make us feel. And so for me, it's just, I wish peace stayed. I wish it was something that was not afraid of me. I wish peace was something that was okay with being around me, that it wasn't scared of me or scared of my illness. That battle between chaos and peace for me is legitimate. It's a real battle, and it's something that I'm fighting every day. There are nights the map dissolves into a scavenger hunt, and the clues are written in someone else's handwriting. I follow them anyway. Hope is stubborn and kindly, and sometimes it leaves breadcrumbs shaped like apologies. I collect them. I line them across my chest like bandages. The horror show sometimes teaches me grammar. The villain pauses before their reveal. Breath becomes punctuation. I learn to read those pauses as warnings, not verdicts. I learn to name my fear before it becomes a festival. I speak its name into the dark and watch it shrink. From a monster to a backpack I can carry, if only for a while. If peace were a house, it would have thin walls, so you'd still hear the neighboring storms, but they'd be distant. Peace is not the absence of sound, but the tolerance of it. It is a hand on your shoulder that does not push, a cup of tea that does not insist on reasons, a window that admits the world and does not let it in all at once. That's what I wish peace was, that I would be able to experience the world, live with my illness, hallucinations, what I hear, what I see, the paranoia, the delusions, the disorganized thinking, that peace would allow me to feel and live and take in these struggles at a pace to where I feel like there's victory, that I can do it. Because right now, there's so much chaos and so much pain and so much hurt that it's 24/7. It just piles in, breaks down doors, breaks windows, and it's constant. And because it's constant, it's overpowering. And so I really wish that I would have some sort of peace that gives me a break. That's what I wish. This is not a tidy victory speech. I do not wake suddenly cured with the lights fixed. But there are small bright things, a neighbor's knock that is not an ambush, a sky that does not rearrange its weather for me, two voices that for a moment change the station and hum a tune about pancakes, not knives. I find it in the pockets of my day that hope can be trained. It is like a stray dog, weary at first, then faithful. I carry it home on a leash I made from patience. I feed it small pieces, a sunbeam, a phone call, a sentence that finishes. Sometimes Skylar quiets because she is tired. Sometimes Cheyenne scuffs her boot and finds a joke. They do not leave. They sit at the edge of the table now, and sometimes we make tea together, awkward, human, real. At night, I say a new sort of prayer. Not for the voices to stop, not for the films to end, but for a hand to hold in the dark and for a light to not blink. I pray for the economy of small mercies, a friend's repetition that is kindness, a stranger's smile that is a map, a doctor who says we'll try again and actually means it. I'm still afraid. I will be afraid tomorrow. The mask in the street may return to count mailboxes. The pale girl may tilt her head and hum her old lullaby. But the house inside me, unreliable, loud, tender, has rooms with soft doors and curtains. I learn to close them one by one. Hope is not a single roaring sun. It is constellations. Many small lights you can get lost between and still find your way. And that's what I really do believe, that peace is about recognizing that there's small lights in the chaos and being able to locate and identify one small light and the best possible, I would say, route to the next small light. And some routes are struggles. Some routes will cause pain. Some routes will cause hurt and tears and blood and sweat. But I don't want to say in the end it's worth it, but in the end, hopefully the routes you take, the journeys you go on, the adventures that happen, hopefully they make you stronger. They cause you to truly have some scars worth telling. So this is what chaos and hope, or chaos and peace, are for me, the battle that I'm in on a constant basis. I will include the link of this in the description of this video so you guys can read it for yourself and take a look. But I just wanted it to be clear that people are struggling, and that this war between chaos and peace is real, that a lot of us, like myself, who have a mental health diagnosis, we believe in Jesus, we believe in God, And we've been saved, but just because we've been saved doesn't mean we don't experience fires and tribulations and persecution. And it's really about learning how to accept that you're going to be persecuted, that you're going to go through struggles, you're going to go through trials and tribulations, and being able to identify the best ways you can learn from them and grow from them and be a better person and just treat people kindly and with love and affection. That's the goal. But I wanted to share this with you guys just in terms of what I'm going through. I hope and I pray that you guys have a good day. I will be posting the devotional video right after this. There is this poetry piece and then the devotional video will follow. So take a look at that as well. Watch that video. We started Mark, and so we're going to continue with that book. And Mark and 1 Corinthians we're on. So hopefully you enjoy the devotional. But I will see you guys later. I just want to say that I love each and every one of you. And if you're struggling, please reach out to me. I'm here for you. And I want to be there for you so you feel less alone. I want to be there for you so you can feel like someone gets it, someone understands, someone relates. So just know you're not alone, that there's people who care about you, who love you. So just life is worth living. It is. So thank you guys so much. Peace and blessings. I love you and have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you guys. Peace out.